Jesus takes us into the minds of our motivations. When I was growing up, it was not uncommon for my siblings and I to call each other names, sometimes in fun with a little bite, other times in anger with the intention to hurt. It was not until my 20s that I realized how much hurt this caused, especially to my younger siblings. When I took the time to apologize, there were many tears. When Jesus taught, "Do not call your brother or sister rakah, you fool," he did not do so lightly. It took me years to realize this. Over the years, we grow. A progression takes place. We start out learning the commandments with only a surface, uncomplicated understanding of them. As we mature, our understanding deepens, and we come to understand why we are not to call anyone fool. The progression is one of the ways of looking at today's readings. In the first reading, the author speaks in very plain terms as a parent might speak to a child. If you choose, you can keep the commandments. They will save you. If you trust in God, you too shall live. These are ancient words echoing the Torah. I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life, and you and your descendants may live by loving the Lord your God, heeding his voice and holding fast to him. As children, we can recognize good and evil, life and death. We can begin to grasp God's will. Then Jesus comes along. He nuanced the teaching of Moses. He brought out the fullness of God's will. St. Paul wrote, Jesus taught a wisdom to those who are mature. He brought God's wisdom that is mysterious, hidden, and deep. In the gospel, Jesus looks out over the crowd. He could see that people tried to follow Moses' teaching, but they were still hurting. They were hurting because they only understood the surface of Moses' teaching. They still messed up their lives and the lives of those around them. So Jesus drew out the meaning for them and for us, the inner meaning of various lessons to help people who were suffering. You have heard that it was said, "Do not kill." The inner root of this law is anger in the heart will tend to flow out into abusive speech. And abusive speech leads to abusive actions. Deal with the anger in your heart. Do not take an angry action against your brother or sister. Not even the word rakah may be used. Violent seeds must be rooted out. Jesus then probes deeper into our subconscious. Do not think that going to church and asking for forgiveness will let you off the hook. We must engage in the difficult process of reconciliation. Go and apologize and ask for forgiveness. This is clear-eyed, practical advice. How much better our relationships at home, at work, and at school would be if we could grow into this wisdom. You have heard it said that you shall not commit adultery. The inside of this law is be pure enough to not even look lustfully at another man or woman? How many sharp elbows have you received because of a straying eye? Adultery begins with lust in the eye. It needs to be short-circuited right there. We must do the necessary inner work to root it out before the desire grows so big that it dominates our life and brings us to ruin. Jesus logically moves on from lust to divorce. The interior law is stay faithful and loving within your marriage relationship. We must explore and evaluate whatever is weakening our commitment. Marriage is intended to be a deepening bond. This bond must be tended to, cared for, worked with. If you get to the point where you are thinking about divorce, it may already be too late. Finally, Jesus addresses the matter of oaths. Today, people use oaths such as, in the name of God, or OMG, or by God, I will never let you. You hear these everywhere. Jesus cuts right through these oaths. You are just trying to make up for your own weakness by implying that God is on your side. I have a better way. Just say yes or no and mean it. Be real and honest. This will sustain life. Over and over again, Jesus calls us to know ourselves. This is great spiritual advice for living life more lovingly. We start out as children trying to understand basic teachings of God. As we grow more mature, Jesus takes us into the minds of our motivations.